Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Plugin Roundup today. I am getting our captions set up as I'm just a little bit late in getting started today. All right, so we're about 3 minutes out from Plugin Roundup. If you have not yet downloaded the handout, it is there on the sign up page. Let me grab that link to put it in the chat for you. There is the handout there in the chat for you. We'll get started here in just a couple of minutes with September Plugin Roundup. You all should be seeing my screen. You see that with the wrong background on it. Here we go. Plugin Roundup. Just about a minute to go before we get started. Welcome to September Plugin Roundup here on iThemes Training. Good to see everybody here. Got a fun list of plugins for you. Handout is there in the chat as you get in. Welcome everybody and congratulations for making the time shift today. I am on a plane directly after this webinar and headed towards North Carolina. Yeah, for those of you that are members, office hours is at Sue's place tomorrow, like for real. So on location at the home of Sue Polinsky, Beth Livingston will be there as well. Should be a lot of fun. And Sue, it's really funny here because Otter doesn't know your name at all. It came out as Soup Olinsky. Oh no, look, it auto-corrected. That's pretty amazing. Wow. Otter really surprises me sometimes. It was Soup Olinsky. And then about 30 seconds later, it swapped to Sue Polinsky. Pretty amazing. All right, we're just about ready to get started here with Plugin Roundup. I'm going to give it just another second or two. And we'll get started. All right, good afternoon and welcome everybody to the September 2022 Plugin Roundup here on iThemes Training. My name is Nathan Ingram. I am the host here at iThemes Training, and every month we take a look at the WordPress plugin directory and pull out about a dozen or so plugins that look kind of interesting that you might want to test and play around with. These are usually some that are recently added to or updated in the plugin directory, and we think they're interesting. So let's get started, shall we? I'm going to drop the handout once again in the chat. That'll be the last time I can paste this. So if somebody would be nice enough to copy that link for any latecomers that need the handout and get that to them, that would be awesome. So let's get WP Nathan pulled over here. And let's dive in with our first plugin, shall we? This one is, we're actually starting out with a few different WooCommerce plugins as we dig into the roundup this month. The first one is called WPC Shoppable Images for WooCommerce. WP Shoppable Images for WooCommerce. So this is an interesting mashup, I think, of getting WooCommerce products and functions mashed up with an image map. So image maps, I mean, if you've been in the web as long as I have, you remember image maps were a thing probably, late-ish 90s, 97, 98, image maps became a thing. And I actually had a website that was fully navigable by some image maps. It was just interesting. Anyhow, they kind of went out of style for a while, and they're really coming back, especially in like the Instagram shopping world, where there's an image and you can hit something and it'll open up that product. And so this is that sort of functionality, but it is built here into WordPress, and it works really well. So let's go ahead and in here and activate WPC Shoppable Images by WP Clever. Those folks, by the way, good dev shop, got a bunch of WooCommerce stuff. We've done a few of their plugins over the last year or so, as I recall. So WPC Shoppable Images. Now we have one set up here. They do add a top level menu, which just, it's not my favorite thing, as you all know. But over here under Shoppable Images, so here's one, for example. So like here's a picture of a guy in a suit that is cleverly titled Guy in Suit. And there's a few things that have been image mapped. See, there there's a tie and a handkerchief and or a shirt, I think, a tie, handkerchief, and a shoe, right? And so these things are down here, and look how this works. So we've got number one here. We clicked on the shoe, and we give it a title, and we can position the label and the pop-up at various places. I'll show you how this works in just a minute. Is it going to show on click, on hover, or it's just there when you load the image? It's going to link to, in this case, we have a bunch of different products here that it's going to show. And these are searchable by WooCommerce. So like you start typing and it'll pull up things that are in your WooCommerce store like that. So that's pretty cool. And you can position the image, the price, and so forth. Let's just take a quick look at how this looks. So here's our image. There's our shoe. And look, we mouse over it and we've got this carousel of products in this case. I mean, normally it would just be a shoe. Here we've got a tie. So we mouse over it and we can direct add to cart right here. Pretty cool. Or just click through to the actual product. There's our wrinkle-free jacket, which we can, it's actually the Hiding Lemurs product, which we could add to cart and so forth. So kind of cool. Does work on mobile. Just scales right down. You'll probably, you'll notice this is where you can position the labels and stuff like top right, whatever, and just move those around so that it's going to look right on mobile as well. But yeah, it's real easy actually to configure these things and decide what they're going to do. You know, do you want to, you know, how do you want to link to the product? Are we showing the price? Are we going to have the add to cart? Is it a carousel or not? Pretty interesting. If we want to add another thing, all we have to do is click, and that adds a number 5, and we can move it around once it's defined. And down here, look, there's a number 5. We can add a product and so forth, or just delete it, and it's gone. So that is in a nutshell what WPC Shoppable Images for WooCommerce is all about. So imagine a landing page on your website that might have a beautiful picture with some of your products in use, and you can just link right to them right from there. It's pretty cool. So yeah, like Beth has this furniture store, right? So imagine, Beth, one of those stock pictures from furniture, and it's got all the different items, you know, that go with it, like the end table and the lamp and the rug and the sofa and the love seat and the chair, and you can just click right through to those products. So pretty cool stuff. Any other questions or comments on WPC Shoppable Images for WooCommerce? Pretty neat stuff. It does take a little bit to get right, little fiddling. Karen, how accessible is this? That is a great question for which I don't know the answer. So let's take a look as we, let's see, get up here where we can click, click, click. Okay, no, it's not accessible at all. So yeah, so what you'd probably want to do in this case is if you had an image like this, you would probably want to list if you are, when you're designing for accessibility in mind, you would just list those things underneath the direct links. That way you would get alt text, or it would just be text, and a link right there as well. Great question, Karen. Anything else on WPC shoppable images? All right. Next up in the list is a really fun. Oh, Brian, does the plugin require the use of WooCommerce's shopping cart? Yes. So all this is basically a way to display your existing WooCommerce products. So all these things right here are products in the store here on WP Nathan. Like they're just these dummy products that we've created over the years. They're just standard WooCommerce products. And so from here, we can just say add to cart. And there it is, view cart, it's in the cart. Yeah, so it's another way to get products into the cart and to visualize them. Great question. Okay, next up is a caveat, slightly complicated to configure, but probably worth the payoff WooCommerce plugin if you have products that need to be configured. So for example, maybe you've got something that's, let's just say it's a flower arrangement, right? And you pick the container that it's in, and you pick the various types of flowers that might go in it. And then at the end, you have this thing that's been built. Yeah, Beth, like Build-A-Bear, right? So pick the carcass, pick your stuffing, pick the, if you're going to put accessories on it or whatever, and then you get this thing that has a price that's assembled from the components that were used to build it. So let's just take a look at the end product here. Let's see. I thought we had something set up for this, or is it actually, I think it's right here. Okay. So it's actually in the store, and it is this ring product, right? So isn't that a gorgeous ring? We'll click that. Now you'll notice right away, oh, wait, we have to activate the plugin. I noticed right away that it wasn't looking the way it was supposed to. So let's activate this Staggs plugin, and you will see the magic happen. Okay, so immediately you notice that the regular WooCommerce product template is replaced completely with what this plugin does. So we have a couple of bases set up here. There's a gold base and a rose gold base. Let's just pick the rose gold base, select it. Okay, now, are we going to use this with silver and diamonds, or do we want one with gold and pearls? Let's do this one. Okay. Now, what's the stone going to be? Is it blue topaz or is it a black diamond? Let's do that one. Select. And there it is. Look, we have a configured product with each of the prices and add to cart. Yeah, like ordering a sandwich at Subway. So, yeah, it's really neat. It's also not the easiest thing to configure the first time until you really see what's going on. So let's actually go back in here and take a look at under the hood of that ring item. And so you set up the steps, right? So here's the step one. It's a base. This is what we're going to, the title, it's the text, configure your ring base. And what's that going to be? And then here under configuration steps, we've got base. And that base is defined over here, actually under frame, I think. Yeah. And so here's where you actually, no, that's the other thing. Let's see, ring. Yeah, so there's our options and the price. So you have to kind of build it in different spots, but then it all comes together. So it does take a little bit of getting into the workflow of how this plugin wants to work. But once you put all the stuff in, it totally works. It's very cool. So yeah, and you can actually, you can set sale pricing and stuff on each section. There's images to go to each one, and you can just build it. It can be as many steps as you want. So yeah, there you go. Questions or comments on this one? That is called Staggs. Not sure why, but that's what it's called. Pretty nifty little configurator. And there is pretty decent documentation here on the Staggs website. It walks you through all the things. All right. Anybody on that one before we move on? Okay. Let's move on down the list to another little WooCommerce add-on, and that is 404 to 301 for products URL on WooCommerce. It's like this is our on-the-nose product description winner for the month. Now, has this ever happened to you? You've got a product in your WooCommerce store, and you delete it, or it's gone, or you for whatever reason you draft it because maybe it's not in stock and you just don't want it shown on the website. But then maybe you have people that have bookmarked it, or yeah, Beth, if it's been discontinued or whatever, but you don't want to catch a 404 error there. Like you don't want to say page not found. That, goofs up your SEO a little bit and whatever. Wouldn't it be nice if there was something that would make this smart enough to, let's find something similar to this? That's what this plugin is going to do. So you just activate the plugin. There are no settings. And when the user goes to a product URL that doesn't exist, by the way, even if it never existed to begin with, they're redirected to something close to it. So it will either be a product has a similar URL or something that's in the same category or whatever. Now, it does not work other than WooCommerce products. So this is specific to WooCommerce products. If products isn't in the URL, it's not going to work. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting little plugin. So let's just, well, first, as always, to use the plugin, one must activate the plugin. And let's take a look at our shop. So we got a product here called Downloadable Kittens, and it's on this page right there. Let's say somebody went to Downloadable Puppies, right? Actually, let's do this without the thing active first. All right, so here's Downloadable Kittens. Right now, if they went to Downloadable Puppies, they would get a 404, right? Because that doesn't exist. However, when we activate this plugin and we try to go just refresh to the same URL, watch, boom, it just finds something similar. Isn't that cool? So yeah. Now, Stacy's saying it might annoy you if it wasn't the product you wanted. I mean, perhaps, but at least it's close. You could do this, or you can have a 404. It's up to you. If you want to redirect someone, pretty well to a similar product, then this is a great little plugin that does it. No, there are no settings. It just kind of works out of the box. So what do you think, everybody? Good idea, bad idea? That's 404 to 301 for product URL on WooCommerce. And by the way, it is when it redirects, it is pushing out a 301 redirect so that if you've got a product that was indexed, it's going to update the link to something else. So pretty cool. Sue is saying it ought to have an option that wasn't found, but this is the closest. That would be cool. That would be cool. Yeah, product not available. Here's something similar. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. So that's a great little suggestion to the developer, maybe echoing something out. But yeah, I think it's pretty good functionality, especially for a little free plugin here. Works pretty nifty. All right, anybody else on this one? All right. Let's move on to the next one. And in the meantime, I'm going to deactivate a few of these because we all know what happens from time to time when we have too many things active. Okay. Moving down the list to, this is one that I ran across solving a problem for a client. It is called Autologin Links. It is not newly added. It's been around for a little while, but I find that it's very helpful. So what this would do is, let's just say, I'll describe it from our perspective. In our build process for agency websites, we typically build behind a login wall on our dev server, right? And so if you go to the subdomain upon which this new site is being built, you get a WordPress login page. We do that in order to prevent the dev site from getting accidentally indexed somehow by Google. Even though sometimes, even if you check that box that says, tell search engines not to index this site. Sometimes, I mean, we've had it happen even when with that check that the site got indexed. So we put it behind a login wall. Now, to give the client access to the site, you can either turn off the login wall so they see the site, or you can give them like a subscriber login, for example. They log in, they can see the site. I like the second option, just, for simplicity. But then you got to give them a user and they have to set a password and all that. So this is something that can make that so much easier. Autologin Links. Because what you can give someone, this plugin will allow you to generate a link on a user profile that you can send to the user, and it just automatically logs them in. Now, they do say, note, this plugin bypasses the standard authentication method of WordPress. So you need to know what you're doing here. So this is not something I would use on an active website at all. This is just, I would use this in a developer environment. So yes, Sue, I realize that it's been a while since it was updated, but it absolutely still works. It's a simple plugin. This is an example of one of those plugins that, you know, it didn't really need to be updated for the next versions of WordPress. So yes, this is something you want to keep your eye on, but I find this to be a very cool plugin and something that I've used with a client. So let me just show you how this works. Autologin Links. And we will go to users. And let's just say we have a customer. This is just a subscriber ID. This actually may still have the link from that I was testing. It does. All right. So I'm going to delete this. This is what it'll look like when you come to a user and just create a standard user. Okay. Oh, I need to update the user real quick. And this is what it'll look like right here when you come to the user auto login. There's nothing there. Okay. So what you'll do is you just click new, and that's going to give you the URL, which you'll want to save, update the user. And then this user can access the website. So watch how this works. I'm going to activate the private site plugin. This is the plugin we use to put up a login wall in front of a website. Private site, site privacy, and enable login privacy. All right, so if we pop open an incognito window, there. Okay, this is what we get, right? So it is currently not accessible to people who are not logged in. But if I go here, oh, you know what? Chrome is bad about this. It's caching itself. Let's just go to a different browser. This is Firefox, obviously. All right, so this is what they would get, right? So if we go here, though, using our link with a login link, it's just going to load the site right up. Look how cool that is. It didn't work. Oh, for heaven's sake. I wonder if I've got caching going on here again. No, it's a caching issue. Let me just dump the site cache. This wouldn't be an issue for somebody that hadn't accessed the website before. But as I tested this yesterday, I think it's just remembering things. All right. So we go to the website and it logs right in. So that's what it's just a browser caching issue. Yeah. So that's how that would work. You got a direct link. It bypasses the standard WordPress login process and works really well. So if you have a site that's behind that login wall, this is a nice way to let people see it without actually having to know a username and password and whatnot. All right, does that make sense? Any questions or comments about that? I feel like I just ran a mile trying to get that thing done. Okay, let's move on then to the next plugin, which is called BibleScriptureTagger. So if you, sir, I know a lot of you work with churches, and if you have a client that is putting Bible verses on the website, this is probably the best plugin I've seen to make that super, super easy. Watch how easy this works. So I'm just going to activate the plugin, and I'm going to go over here to, actually, there are some settings. Let's see, that are pretty helpful. So basically you can set a standard version of the Bible. And let's go over here to pages, on a page that has some stuff on it already, and just take a quick look. So if we look at the page itself, all you have here, there's no links, notice, it's just references. And on the front end of the site, though, the plugin recognizes those and puts a mouse over. Isn't that interesting? And notice, like, there's even, if the various versions here, you could follow it up with the version abbreviation, and it just automatically knows that and shows it in that version. So for those of you working with clients that are have scripture on website, this is pretty cool. Really nice way. No links, no anything like this. It just works. You could set the default, and then otherwise, if you type the version name, it just works. So, you know, like on this page, if we wanted to make this the old King James version and update, it just knows. It's pulling all this stuff from a website called BiblePortal.com. Of course, in a live demo, it's going to be slow. Wow, look at that. Look how great that works. I broke the Bible. Thank you, Chris. I don't know why that's not working. It was working great a minute ago. So anyway, it's a great little plugin that I found to be pretty cool, even though in that particular instance, for some reason, I mean, obviously I've done something wrong here. I don't know what it could be, but I've clearly done something wrong. Oh no, it's Bible Portal. Maybe they're having a little issue. Okay. So it wasn't me, it's them. We're going to call it them. So BibleScriptureTagger, there you go. Any questions or comments on that one? Yeah, Melanie RefTagger is another one that does something like this, but this is pretty cool. All right, moving right along to the next plugin on the list, which is called DiskHero, which sounds like a video game, but it is a pretty nifty little plugin that lets you see what's going on disk space wise with your site. So let us go and activate Disk Space Hero, or DiskHero. And you will notice there is now a top level menu item that says DiskHero. Great big red W, you can't miss it. So what this is going to do is give you a picture of your overall disk usage, which is kind of nice. It also breaks it down. So this is like the top level of the public HTML folder in my website. And notice there's pluses on folders, and you can click it and it drills down eventually, yes, to all the things. So you can see what's going on there and how large the different files are, plugins. And it just goes down. So if you have a site that's really, really big, it just figures it out. Jan is asking if it grabs from cPanel. No, it's actually looking itself right then at the disk space in its own way. Now, for those of you who are Backup Buddy users, you may know that there's already something like this in the Diagnostics tab of Backup Buddy. It's been there for years and years and years. Not quite as, it's just a different graphic as this. And of course, everything is just going to be slow today because, you know, we're on. All right, so we go to size maps, and there's a couple of them here, actually. I like this graphical one. Open that up, and it does a similar thing. See there? Like there's the size of the site. There's IDP content. Here's our uploads folder, plugins. We can click that, and it zooms out to all the different things. So that's built into Backup Buddy, but here's another one that does a similar thing, and you can just kind of navigate your way through the site and find what's what. So yeah, I kind of like this plugin's view at the top level. You can kind of see a little easier, I think, what's going on there. But this one's pretty cool too. All right, so that is DiskHero. Any other questions or comments about this one? Neat little plugin. If you're evaluating a site, for perhaps somebody wants you to take a look at their site, just drop this on there, see what's going on size-wise. Pretty cool. All righty. Next up is, this is a neat little Gutenberg block called Gutena Newsletter. There aren't, at least I haven't seen another block that does this as nicely as this one does. And so it's basically a block that's going to give you a subscribe block that's configurable, and you can add to wherever you want on your website, like subscribe me to my MailChimp list. Currently, it does only work with MailChimp. I would imagine they're going to add more channels later, but this currently just works with MailChimp. Let's take a quick look at that and see what's going on there. Gutena Newsletter. There it is. And so we'll just drop into a page that has some of those blocks on it already. And here it is. So look at that. You just type in your name and subscribe. Now here's what this actually looks like on the block editor side. So we click the block, and it's just a row with a block. Like it drops this in. I'll show you that in just a minute. But then, this is just a standard heading block. You can configure this and make it look like whatever you want it to be. You can change your content here to be whatever you want. You can change this image. You can change this, do whatever. You click on this and look over here. Here's where you drop in your MailChimp API key and your audience ID, and it gives you a quick link to find the audience ID once you're logged in. And so you could actually, with this, have multiple subscribe feeds at different spots of the website. This works great with a block editor. And to add this, it's just as simple as, let's see. Go down here to the newsletter, and it just drops it in right there. It's that simple. This whole pre-built thing is there. You can tweak the way you want this to be. Is it one column? Is it two? You can change it up, put some more stuff over here if you want. It's the block editor. Works really well. Elizabeth, can you ask for more info, not just email? So currently, nope, this is all it does. It's just to grab the email address, simple subscribe form. This is a brand new plugin, though, and I would imagine they're going to be adding to the development. So they've got a YouTube video, so chances are they're going to start pushing some more things. Yeah. But currently, no. Any other questions or comments about this one? Gutena Newsletter. All righty. Next one down the list. So this is called SpamJam, and another plugin in the ongoing battle to fight spam on your website. This is one that works with comment and registration forms. If you don't want to pay for a Kismet, this is a relatively powerful honeypot-based spam prevention. So there are some comment spam that are more advanced and can get around a honeypot, but this one, the vast majority of comment spam and registration spam gets trapped in a honeypot. Now, if you've never heard of a honeypot, basically this method of preventing bots from filling up your forms on your website puts a hidden field that the typical user can't see, but the bot can see. And if anything gets in that field at all, then the plugin knows this was a bot, and so we're going to trash that entry. And so that's exactly what this does. So let me just go quickly to a post that has some comments. So we see a comment form really quickly. Let's just go to this one and go down to the, whoops, let's, doggone it. View the post. There we go. Okay, so here's our comment form. There's our reply. Oh, and I'm logged in. I actually need to be in an incognito window for this because I'm logged in, and therefore it's not going to stop me from commenting. Okay, so here's our typical WordPress comment form. And if you take a look at what this is doing, let me find it right here. So after the submit button, it is adding a new paragraph. It adds a class required because that will usually get a bot to fill whatever. And it just has a couple of inputs here, like email confirm. This is for the plugins use. And then also for the plugins use, So there's also a comment here in a text area. None of this is shown. It's a display none. And so if any of that information gets filled in, then the plugin knows disregard that entry. So that's how a honeypot works. And that's basically what this does. There are no settings. It just works right out of the box. And it's going to do a good job cutting down on a lot of that bot spam that just floods WordPress websites. If you've ever put a WordPress site out there and you didn't have some sort of spam protection, wow, do you get a lot of stuff, right? And it's not much fun. So that is SpamJam. Any questions or comments on that one? There are more advanced anti-spam techniques and services and those sorts of things, but especially, for a free site, for, just a site that maybe you've just been asked by a friend for some help, put that on there. That's going to take care of most of that comment spam. It's good stuff. Anybody on that one? Okay. Scrolling down to the next plugin, which is called BC Mini Series from Binary Carpenter. Now, so this is basically a plugin that is designed to lets you create clusters of posts on your site. Like, so a mini series of posts, like there's a 4-part series on something, right? 4-part series on, car maintenance for dummies or whatever it's going to be, right? And so what this does, it creates a landing page for that content and then lets you link the posts that belong in that series. So let's take a quick look behind the scenes on this one and see how it works. Activating the plugin, BC Mini Series. That's going to add a new top-level menu item here with a palm tree for some reason. And this gives us our series. So this is kind of like a custom post type. So every series here's an awesome series of posts. We're going to edit that. And what you're going to see we have is an editor. Now, it is using the classic editor, not the block editor. Not quite sure why that is, but that's what it does. And so you have the ability to add some content, kind of like a landing page for the series. And then down below here, we have manage the posts in the series. So let's add a new post to the series. This is the 4th in the series. Add it and update. Okay, it's done. And we'll update over here too. I don't trust whatever that was. Okay, so what just happened, by the way, is it created a post. So there's the post that's been created so far. So the post was created. It's an empty post. Nothing there. We'll go ahead and publish it. But if we go back here and look at this series itself, notice what we have here, wpnathan.com/series/ an awesome series of posts. Let's open this up. Okay, this is a great teaching opportunity. Sometimes when you activate a plugin that creates its own permalink structure here, like series, you need to go in and reset your permalinks. This happens frequently, and it can be really frustrating if you don't know what's going on. So all we have to do is go back here to the dashboard, go under settings and permalinks, and just hit save changes. That's all we have to do. And now if we refresh this, it'll work. We just have to reset our permalinks. Okay, so here's our landing page for our awesome series of posts. And then here's our series right there. And I'm not sure why the 4th one isn't setting. Where's our 4th one? Oh, it's still a draft. That's right. No, it didn't stick. Oh, is it because it's a draft? Well, let's see. Let us just check. Okay, I think we have to go back and re-add it once it's published. It's an odd workflow. This is a day of oddness and weirdness for me for some reason. All right. I don't know. That's interesting. It's not sticking for some reason. Chris, you know why that's happening? It's there in the draft. It's linked to the other ones, but it is not showing up. So if you were going to do this manually, you'd have to link all the things. Did I click update series? I think so, but maybe not. Let us try it again. Because it's not showing up here. There's that one, update series. Add a new post to the series, update the series. It's there. It's still there. I click update. It's still there. Let's edit this and publish this. Everybody's just waiting with bated breath, I can tell. It's published. Okay. Well, that's really weird. I probably did something stupid. I'm not quite sure what it was, but there it is. I don't know. So what this will save you from doing is having to figure this out. Now, here's another neat thing. When you go here, look, it updates. Like you're going to get, since you add them kind of in a row, you can navigate here as well. Phoebe, why would you use this instead of links at the bottom of the page? You could put those links in a reusable block and only do it once. I mean, you could do that. Yes, that is another way to do this. What this is trying to help you do is make it easy to create a page where all these posts are linked together in a series and linked down at the bottom, where you can just add another post there. Just a different workflow. You could totally do this with a reusable block if you wanted to do that. Yes. You just update the reusable block. All right. Any other questions or comments on BC Mini Series? All right, next up is Classroom Library. Now, I remember somebody had something like this. I know there was like a toy lending library that somebody was asking about in office hours, but we've also had like a book library question at some point, I remember. And I just found this interesting. Now, the chances of anybody using this immediately are probably low, but this is a really neat little plugin that if you come across a need to, maybe you've got a nonprofit organization that has a library of books that they lend out or whatever, this is like a plugin that just works to create a little lending library on a WordPress site. Karen's saying it's on your to-do list for a nonprofit. Awesome. So this is it. This works really well. So let's activate Classroom Library. Down here, Classroom Library. Oh, it's already active. There we go. So let's just hear from you in the chat. What is your favorite kids book? Favorite kids storybook? First one I see, I'm posting. Where the Wild Things Are is already there, Chris. You already know that. The Secret Garden. Okay, Secret Garden. There is, this is the classic Secret Garden right here. What I'm going to do is go down and find the ISBN number. You can also do this with a barcode scanner if you have one. Watch how cool this is. We're going to go to Publications and add new. And I'm going to paste in the ISBN number and hit find. Look at that. It pulls in the description. It didn't pull in the featured image. That's interesting. All right, let's try the ISBN 13. See if it does anything different. Of course, the one that we want to do is going to give us trouble today. It's there, you just don't see it. Okay. I trust you, Chris. Applications. Okay, I didn't say. We're going to try this again. Okay, let's just publish this. and go down to our page that has our library. Now there's a short code called bookshelf that you can put on any page of the website. And here's how it looks. I think this is our secret garden. Yeah, let's find a different version of this. The video. Not sure why this is so complicated to find a. Let's try it again here. Well, we're 0 for 2. It is pulling. I'm not quite sure where it's pulling from. Here's the other ones we did. I added this one yesterday. You click it, it takes you to the book. Now you will need to do some CSS to get this all put the way you want it to go, but it'll show you how many are available, get the barcode, learn more. Will take you over to someplace. Oh, it pulls from Open Library. It's where it pulls from. It's where it's getting these things. And then you can check it out. You just type in your name, check out. Successfully checked out. So now look, there's 0 of 1 available. If we go back to our bookshelf, he still shows up, but nobody's available. I can check it back in. Sue, no, you can't read on a device. This is just like a database for managing your book inventory. Karen, if it doesn't have an ISBN, you just add it manually. Like you don't have to pull in the things. Goodness. Here we go. You can just type in the title and stuff manually, add a featured image. Yes, and there are some custom fields here where you can pull in various things. The open library key, how many copies are available, and so forth. Deb, are there options for not having a checkout feature? You could hide it, but no, not in the, I don't believe so. I don't believe there are any settings really at all for this plugin. No. Nope. So it's not for purchase. This is made to be like a classroom library. It's like a check-in, check-out. So like, for example, you're a teacher in a classroom, you've got a bunch of kids in books, and you got your WordPress site up, and that's your check-in, check-out process. Yeah, this is just library management. So like if you're a nonprofit or whatever, Karen was saying, like, Karen, how would you use this in your nonprofit? Like the folks have a book library. It's like, you know, give a book, take a book kind of a thing. If you check it out, there it is. You know who's got it. There's transactions listed here, so you can see who took what. I don't know what that's all about. Sure why that's all jacked up. Something's going on in my display. Yeah. Historical Society Library. Yeah. Weaving Guild with a library. Yeah. So a nonprofit, right? Some group that has a library. Very good. Okay, let's move along to the next one. Those of you that have membership sites, or you just want to see what's going on with people logging in and out of your website, this is a pretty cool little plugin. It is called All User Login Status, and simply activate this plugin and you get to see some things. So if we look at our users, we see, oh, look, I am logged in. And it'll also show you the last time that they did log in. So I'm going to open up in another browser, WP Nathan, and I'm going to log in as somebody else. Or actually, what I could do is just switch to this user. That'll count as a login. And switch back. This is the user switching plugin, by the way, that's allowing that functionality. So, and Chris just logged in as well. So Chris is logged in and it gives the last time they were on, who's online now. Pretty cool stuff. So if you've got a site that would, you would like to see who's online now, that'll work. Now, this isn't like a front end widget that shows, all of those sorts of things. It's just for back end admin users. But yeah, it'll show you if anybody's online. Last time somebody, it's not sortable, but it will show you unless this person logged in last on whatever date. Kind of nice if you want to track and see if your clients are logging into sites, that sort of thing too. All right, so that is all user login status. Any other questions or comments on that one before we move on? Last plugin of the list today. Now, this one I find to be pretty interesting. How many of you have weird plugin conflicts that might only happen on one page? And it's really hard to solve, and why in the world this is happening, I don't know. Also, that the developer of this plugin, I think, positioned this originally as a performance enhancer, and it certainly could be. Like, let's disable, some of these plugins and stop them from loading whatever code or script or whatever on various pages. It totally works for that, but it can also be helpful. Like, just don't load this plugin on that page because it's conflicting with something else for some reason that's happening on that page. So this is disable plugins on pages posts, and it's pretty interesting. Let's go back and I'll show you how this works. Disable plugins. And when we do that, we're going to get I believe it's in the settings under plugin load organizer. So you got to know where to look. But look what we have here. So here's our list of pages and posts all stacked up and all of the active plugins on the site. So for example, and notice, by the way, it shows the slug of the plugin. So it's not the actual plugin name, which can be a little tricky, but like, for example, Beaver Builder is right here, BB plugin. So I'm going to go down here to some page. Let's just say it's page 4. And it's also, for some reason, it's pushing over. I'm not sure why that is, but BB plugin is the 3rd plugin. I'm just going to check on that box. Now, what this does is whenever I go to page 4 on the site, it will not load Beaver Builder. So I'm going to save this settings. And I'm going to go to page, well, I could just go to the front end of the site, probably quicker. And go to page 4. And look, it's not there. If I go to the home page, it's loading Beaver Builder. The menu item is there. I can open it up. I can Beaver build to my heart's content. But if I go to page 4, it's not loading anything Beaver Builder, like at all. It's not even there. If we go to edit this page, on the back end, we don't even have the link to, like, there should be a little tab at the top for the page builder versus Beaver Builder. Like, we'll get it. If we go to page 2, you'll see it. Well, no, you don't. Anyway, it's not loading on the front end of the site for sure. So this can be helpful. It certainly could be helpful to, speed a site up. If you got a certain page and stuff that need to load, that's helpful. But for me, it's like, gosh, if we've got something that's bumping heads with another plugin on a particular page, we can just disable that plugin from loading on that particular page with a simple checkbox. So it's pretty cool. Sherry's saying, how do you figure out what to disable? It's trial and error, right? And a lot of times, maybe in the inspector, in the console, you could see, oh, we've got this error from this plugin happening. You could disable that plugin on that page or whatever. Stacy is saying, for sites using contact form 7, for example, It puts code on all the pages. You could disable it on all the contact page. Precisely. Now, a couple of little weirdnesses here. I'm not sure if it's just on this side or what, but it's bumping things over a little bit. And so you got to kind of see what's happening here. And it's the little weirdness of checking on means turning off in this list. So I'm checking on page 4. Also, look here. We can toggle off everything. No plugins load on this page. That's kind of cool. Also, look at this. We can do it by post type. So on posts, I don't want Beaver Builder to load at all on the front end, for example. Or, on pages, I don't want something WooCommerce to load. I don't know why we do that, but there you go. So you can do it by individual page posts. You can also do it by the post type, which is pretty cool. All right, that is disable plugins on pages and posts. Any other questions or comments on that one? Pretty cool stuff. Well, that brings us to the end of the September 2022 plugin roundup here on iThemes Training. Usually we have a bunch of really great plugins. This was one of the more average lists. I think developers were hopefully taking a little break during the summer, not publishing quite as many things, but still a few interesting ones here. So let's take a vote, shall we? Your favorite plugin of the roundup, one vote only, please. We'll use this as we tabulate the best of that we'll do in December. So let's see, we've got several votes for the plugin disabler, spam, library, Autologin. Yeah, disable plugins is by far the best one. 3 votes for SpamJam. All right. SpamJam and disable plugins looks like they're going to take the day. Anybody else vote? Vote now or forever hold your, vote. All right. Excellent. So disable the plugins and SpamJam, take that one away. Awesome. Well, thanks for hanging out with me for the last hour. We are back tomorrow. This is a weird week here on iThemes Training. We're an hour early today, and we're a day early tomorrow for office hours. So tomorrow's office hours is at 1 p.m. Central. As usual, it's just on a Wednesday, and we will be broadcasting live from Sue Polinsky's office, and Beth Livingston might be there too. So hopefully we'll get a cameo of them popping in, and we'll have a lot of fun with office hours tomorrow on location at the Polinsky headquarters. And yeah, I'm on my way to WordCamp US after that. So if you're heading to WordCamp US, make sure you hook up with me, say hi, tweet at me. I'd love to meet you. Just let me know you're going to be there, and we'll find a time to get together and say hi. So with that, we'll wrap up for today. See you back tomorrow. Members, office hours, 1 p.m. Central here on iThemes Training, where we go further together.